Good morning. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we are going to cover on our Wednesday webinar whether you can receive Social Security disability benefits simultaneously with disability benefits that are paid by the Veterans Administration or the VA. I do want to make sure to note at the outset that today's webinar, as always, is not legal advice. If you have specific questions related to your specific situation and would like legal advice, the very last slide will provide that, our contact information, not legal advice. And if you this webinar is basically just here for additional background information, and then, of course, to answer the ultimate question, which is, can you receive Social Security disability and VA disability benefits at the same time, which we will cover. Okay, that's a little bit of a broad overview. We'll talk about VA benefits, we'll talk about Social Security disability benefits, and then, of course, we will talk about whether you can receive both at the same time. And then finally, I'll put up a slide that kind of outlines some of the ways an attorney can help you with your Social Security disability claim. And then, like I said, the very last slide will be instructions on how you can get in touch with us. We also will put on the live in the chat a copy and a link to our calendar where you can book a time to chat with me. And then on the replay, that link will be down below. So if you want to book a time to chat about your situation specifically and see if it's something that we can opine on, feel free to do that as well. A little bit about me. My name is Caitlin Wildoner. I'm the founding attorney of Beacon Disability, PLLC, which is a law firm based in Florida, and we exclusively practice federal administrative disability law. We assist clients throughout the United States with federal agency level Social Security disability and supplemental security income matters. If for some reason we cannot handle your claim, we do try to put you in touch with somebody who might, or shed a little bit of extra light on the situation and try to help you out. So if you do have questions, feel free to reach out. Like I said, on the live, the link to our calendar just went in, and then on the replay, the link to the calendar should be down below. So you can also feel free to schedule a time to chat that way as well. Okay, so I want to make sure to note we do not handle VA disability benefit claims at this time. It may be something we look at doing in the future, but right now we do not. So these overviews of VA benefits and of Social Security disability benefits as well are both broad. They're not going to cover and touch upon all situations, but generally speaking, service-connected VA disability benefits are a tax-free benefit that are paid to United States veterans for a disability or disabilities that either arose during their time in the service, was worsened or aggravated by their time in the service, or is presumed by the VA to be related to their military service. Veterans who are discharged under dishonorable conditions cannot qualify for VA disability benefits, and VA disability benefits are available to veterans and certain qualified dependents of theirs. So who qualifies for VA disability benefits? In order to qualify, both of those first two prongs must be true. You must have a current illness or injury that affects your mind or body. So basically, you must have a physical or mental impairment, and you must have served on active duty for training, or inactive duty training. So if you meet both of those two prongs, then you can go to the next level where you see, okay, are one of these also true? You don't have to meet all of them, you just have to meet one of them. The one of three that you must meet are that you must have gotten sick or injured while serving in the military, and that illness or injury can be linked back to your military service. That's an in-service disability claim. Or you had an illness or injury before you joined the military, and when you were serving in the military, it made it worse, and that is a pre-service disability claim. Finally, you might have a disability that's related to your active duty service that didn't appear until after you ended your service. That again is connected back to your time in service, and that is called a post-service disability claim. So those are the three ways that you can get VA disability benefits. Is either the condition is linked to military, the condition has to be linked to your military service, whether it was aggravated by the military service, happened because of the military service, and you know that while you're in service or after the fact. So now shifting to Social Security disability basics, which of course we do handle, there are two different Social Security disability programs. First, there's Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI benefits, and then there's Supplemental Security Income, or SSI benefits. Both Social Security disability programs are going to require that you be disabled and unable to work for a period of at least 12 months due to at least one or more severe medically determinable physical and or mental impairments. In addition to that one prong of the disability, with SSDI benefits, you must also have sufficient work credits. So you must have paid into the system enough in recent years to qualify for SSDI. For SSI, there's no sufficient work credit requirement, but instead there are income and asset restrictions. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. Those in the live saw that I had a coughing fit. So we paused the recording and are resuming now. But as I was saying, the Social Security Administration will only pay for total disability. There is no benefits available to just short-term or partial disability. To be found disabled under Social Security Administration rules, you must be unable to do any type of work or engage in any type of substantial gainful activity as a result of your medical conditions. You must be unable to do the work you did previously and unable to adjust to any other work as a result of those medical conditions. And finally, your condition has either already lasted or it must be expected to last at least 1 year or result in death. Okay. The 5-step evaluation process for Social Security disability. First, the agency is going to look at, are you engaging in substantial gainful activity? This year in 2022, that means, are you currently earning more than $1,350 a month? If you are, the agency won't evaluate any further. They will automatically find not disabled according to their rules. If you are not engaging in substantial gainful activity, Social Security moves to step 2 and looks at, okay, do you have at least one severe medically determinable impairment? As I mentioned before, that's either physical and or mental. If you do, they will move to step 3. If you do not have at least one severe medically determinable impairment, the agency will stop the evaluation there and find that you are not disabled. So again, if you've got at least one severe impairment, then they look at, okay, do you meet or equal one of the listings that are in their Blue Book? If you do, then their evaluation stops there, but instead of finding you not disabled, they find that you are disabled because you were able to meet or equal one of their Blue Book listings. If you do not meet or equal one of their Blue Book listings, they move to step 4. They review the medical records. Well, they've reviewed the medical records already, but they create a residual functional capacity, which is basically what the agency thinks you are capable of doing. If you have a doctor who's created an RFC, the agency can adopt that. They can also make their own. They use that RFC to go to step 4. And they see, can you return to your past relevant work? Can you go back and do the work that you had done in the last 15 years? If you can, go back to your past relevant work based on your RFC, the analysis stops there, and the agency will find that you are not disabled. If you cannot go back to your past relevant work, the agency moves to step 5, and they look at, okay, using that RFC, combining that with your age, education, and past work experience, maybe do you have transferable skills? Do you not? Can you engage in any other work at that RFC level based on age, education, past work experience, and transferable skills? If you can engage in other work, the agency will find that you are not disabled. If you cannot engage in any other work, then Social Security should ultimately find you to be disabled according to their rules. So for SSDI benefits, which is predominantly what we're going to talk about when we're talking about Social Security disability and VA disability, you have to be disabled and unable to work for at least 12 months. Those 12 months do not have to pass before you can apply for SSDI benefits. If you get injured and it's looking like you're not going to be able to return to work in the next 12 months, then you can and should apply for SSDI benefits as soon as possible. And it's not just getting injured. If you get a diagnosis of something that is going to make it so that you can't go back to work. For SSDI benefits, you must have sufficient work credits, which depends on your age. Generally, you need 40 total credits, which is 10 years of work, and 20 of the credits must have been earned in the last 10 years, ending with the year your disability begins. Younger workers can qualify for SSDI with fewer credits. In 2022, you earn 1 credit for every $1,510 you earn in wages or self-employment income. So that means that this year, once you earned $6,040, you earned your 4 credits. You can only earn 4 credits in a year. So that's why those 40 total credits equals 10 years of work. Income and assets don't matter for SSDI qualification. SSI, on the other hand, you must also be disabled and unable to work for a period of at least 12 months. Again, those 12 months don't have to pass before you can apply. And with SSI, I strongly encourage you, as soon as you realize that you're not going to be able to go back to work in at least 12 months, you apply. You must have limited income and assets for SSI. You cannot have more than $2,000 in assets if you're single, and you cannot have more than $3,000 in assets if you are married. There are certain assets that do not count towards those asset thresholds, and some of those are listed below. The big ones are you can have 1 home and 1 car. That will put you over that threshold. Most things above and beyond that will count. Bank accounts, investment accounts, retirement accounts, all of that does count towards those asset thresholds. Income is a separate pot, not a separate pot, but a separate analysis. And that does vary. The way SSI counts income typically includes information about your household size and children. So that's why I don't put any information about the income thresholds in the webinar, but they do also exist. So that's an important note. And if you have questions about that, I usually say to go directly to Social Security, because like I said, there's a lot of variables that go into play there. So the answer to the question that you all have is yes, you can receive VA and Social Security disability benefits simultaneously. However, in order to do so, of course, you have to be eligible for both. You have to meet the criteria under the VA for finding of disability and receiving those benefits, and then also with SSA. So that means that you must be disabled and unable to work for a period of at least 12 months. And generally speaking, you must have paid into SSDI enough in recent years. You cannot often receive SSI and VA disability benefits because those SSI benefits are income and asset restricted. It does happen. It's just not super common. And like I say here, if you don't receive much from the VA for disability benefits, you may qualify for SSI benefits as well, but it's not terribly common. So it is possible. It just isn't terribly common. It depends on a lot of factors. But if you can be found disabled by both agencies. So yes, you can receive benefits simultaneously. However, an important note, you can receive them simultaneously. Applying for one is not going to apply you for the other. You have to apply separately. They're administered by 2 different government agencies, the VA and the Social Security Administration. Even more important note sometimes, just because you qualify for VA benefits, you do not automatically qualify for SSDI benefits, and vice versa. I've had so many clients, unfortunately, call, and they get so frustrated because the VA finally approved them for their benefits. They've applied for Social Security. They're thinking they're a shoo-in, and they get the denial saying that they're not disabled according to Social Security's rules. Both programs have different definitions of disability and different eligibility requirements. So it's entirely possible that you qualify for one and not the other. If you have a 100% permanent and total rating by the VA, or if you developed a disability while on active military service on or after October 1st, 2001, your Social Security claim may be expedited. The expedited timeline still varies. It doesn't mean that you can expect to get a decision in 30 days. Sometimes that happens, but not generally. So those are some important notes to make as it relates to both VA and Social Security disability benefits. Okay, how an attorney can help you. I usually go through and read this, but since I'm having a hard time today with too much talking, it makes me want to cough a little bit. So I'm just going to put it up here. I will say this is not an exhaustive list. This is a lot of what we do, a lot of behind the scenes. But we are here as a resource to you. We do represent you and your interests before the Social Security Administration. We help relay information back and forth. We help explain things to you. If the agency calls us with, in a potential amended onset date, for example, you applied, said you became disabled as of June 1st, 2020, and Social Security is saying, we think the medical records point to you becoming disabled on December 1st, 2020. It's about a 6-month difference. You and I would have a conversation about what that means. So that's just an example of the kinds of things that we do. As it says here, we do review medical records and case files. We do that and can help kind of have a discussion with you about what additional records might be helpful. So that's our role. We are your advocate, and we're here to work with you. If you have questions specific to your condition or specific to a family member's condition, it's usually better if we talk to the claimant directly, to the person who is wanting to apply for both VA and Social Security disability. We'll put the link to our calendar again in the chat on the live. And then, as I mentioned before, on the replay, it is down below. You can also give us a call or send us an email. So thank you so much for watching, those of you on the live.